May the 4th, 2022, we do a transaction, get a bunch of money, deposit in my bank account. And I wake up and I'm just like, wow, it's like any other day. Like, you'd think that the heavens would open, light would shine down on you. But the only difference is I got a few more zeros in my bank account. I went from working 60 hours a week to zero, essentially zero. So I'm just like, dude, this sucks. Ultimately, that's where like the Founder Podcast was born, because I'm like, dude, I need something. What would you do if one day you sold your business for millions of dollars and the next day you woke up with that kind of money in your bank account? This is literally what we're going to be talking about today as we talk about what it's been like to transition from running a business every single day to post 9-figure exit, and how motivations change and all that different stuff. It's the thing that we've all dreamt about, all fantasized about, and I've been through. And so we're going to talk a little bit today about what it's like post-exit. All this and more on today's episode of the Founder Podcast. Yo, Levi, what up, dog?
What is up, gang?
Ooh,
what's up?
Man, excited to be talking about this subject with my guy.
Oh, it's good. We've seen a lot together, man. We have.
Woo. So, it's interesting. I get this question probably at least a couple times a day, and sometimes upwards of 10 times a day, of like, Chris, what are you doing now? Right? Because I think most people ask the question expecting that I'm like, well, I'm just like hanging out on beaches, doing the things that, I always fantasized about doing while I was working. And I think they're often surprised by the answer.
Yeah. So let's go to the very beginning, because I think it's cool and how much we've talked about vision and growth, that you yourself are a visionary.
That's right.
And, we always laugh and talk about like how when I first started Solgen, I was one of the first few handful of employees that started. And even I thought what you had painted me as a vision was crazy. It was ludicrous, because we're in a garage, no AC.
That's right.
Like there's 4 desks, there's concrete, like it's nuts. From that very beginning moment, did you always know that something like this would come to fruition?
I did. I really believed it. I thought I could do it earlier in my career, and then it didn't work. And then once going back and kind of learning the ropes and studying from some of the greats, I realized, if I could just consistently do the things over and over again that work, eventually something big is going to happen. But as big as it got, I don't know if I even quite understood from the very beginning how big it would get, right? Like the 5-year plan starting out of the gates was to do $100 million a year with 500 employees. We ended up 1,100 plus employees, $233 million the last year that I was running the business. And that was 5 years in.
This is so nuts.
Dude, it was wild. It was wild. And so, it's cool because, that business, it's still running today. Took a little bit of a kick to the junk from the old economy, but, back on track. I think this last month they did 24 million, which is fantastic.
Which is really cool. And then, so you fast forward a little bit, right? So you from the very beginning, we've got this special idea for a solar company. And you knew it was going to turn into something special.
Absolutely.
As you start creeping through and start to entertain the idea like, hey, we could maybe have a pretty big transaction on our hands. What was like kind of the deciding point of let's do it now rather than later? Like, what was the thought process behind that decision?
Yeah, whenever you're approaching a potential exit, you've got risk and reward, right? The risk is that whoever you're going to turn it over to is going to kill your baby.
Yeah.
Right? Also, like we did, you want to roll some equity forward for some potential upside. And so that's kind of like one of the things that you're balancing, but also like you running the business, and when all your eggs are in one basket, granted I had some real estate and those type of things, but most of my net worth was tied up into Solgen and running it, right? There's a part of you that wants to de-risk, de-lever, and to be able to take some chips off the table so that if you do make a big mistake, if you do screw up or the economy gets kicked in the face or whatever else, right? Like you're not losing everything that you went and built. And so it was this balancing act. And we always knew, and we preached like, hey, we want to go and do a private equity deal from an early on, right? Like that was a target. And so this was just kind of a checkbox. And, was exciting to look forward to, like, hey, I'll be able to take some money off the table, put in the stock market, put into real estate, get more working for me, and really just secure my financial future for the rest of my life, right? Not necessarily my kids or their kids, but my life would be secured. And so like that was exciting.
That is exciting. So then you guys, a lot of people don't realize it's not just overnight process. It's not an overnight process that you start to entertain the idea of a transaction and then it just happens and you wake up with millions of dollars in your account. Right. Like I remember, when we started saying, hey, this could be happening and we're going to start talking to banks and equity groups and stuff like that. It felt like we'd always joke, it's always 6 months out. It's always 6 months out. Oh, we're 6 months away. Because there's just so many things that you just can't account for with that. So could you talk a little bit more about how long that process and why it was that long?
I mean, we talked about selling for several months before we made the decision that we were going to run what's called a process. January of 2021 is when we actually started running the process. And we didn't close that process or close a deal until May 2022. So it was literally 16 months that it took. So it's definitely not an overnight. It wasn't your typical transaction. When you're talking about a 9-figure transaction, there's a lot of work that goes into it. Writing a book, getting representation, having a banker, lawyers, finding the right private equity group, going through it all. And I know we've talked about that on some other episodes, but yeah, the purpose of this episode is kind of like what has happened since, right? Mm-hmm. And so May the 4th, 2022, we do a transaction, get a bunch of money deposit in my bank account, and I wake up and I'm just like, wow, it's like any other day. Mm-hmm. Like, you'd think that the heavens would open, light would shine down on you, but the only difference is I got a few more zeros in my bank account, and cool, but like nothing drastically changed. And also at that point on, I was planning on running the business for a long time. I wanted to continue in the business. So fast forward another year, I get in a terrible car wreck, and I decide at that point in my life, like I want to step away from the business. And so I step away, and that's like really what people are like, dude, what are you doing now? Like, are you just traveling? Because a lot of people that follow me on Instagram, if you're not following on me, definitely hit that up at Chris Lee QB. They see my stories, they see my travels. I've been to Dubai and India and Hawaii and Vegas, and like I'm just kind of like all over the map, just kind of depending on the time of year. And people are like, are you just full-time traveling? Like, what are you doing? And so it was interesting. I tried the retirement thing for 6 weeks, and it was the worst 6 weeks of my life, right? Anybody that's watched some of my other podcasts, I've talked about this a couple different times. Just like I was like a dark place in my life of like where I felt like I didn't have a whole lot of meaning because I had attached so much of my identity to running a business. And I thought I wanted to spend a bunch more time with my wife and kids and all this stuff, which I did. But the thing is like, I went from working 60 hours a week to zero, essentially zero. And no matter how great of a parent you are, allocating another 60 hours to your wife and kids is too much.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, you can, like, okay, I went to the dance recital, I went to the sports game, I picked him up, dropped him off to school, picked him up from school, do I start volunteering for the like parent teachers association, and like do I teach for, I don't know, like, so like these are all the things that I'm like balancing. I start driving the tractor around my house, and it's like, dude, this sucks, And so ultimately that's where like the Founder Podcast was born, because I'm like, dude, I need something that gets me excited and gets me out of bed.
Because I think a lot of people think that business is just business. Like it's
make money.
Yeah, to make money, separate your personal feelings and emotions. But I think as an entrepreneur, like you kind of alluded to it a little bit, like this was your baby. Like it is an emotional experience. You know, your baby graduated and is off to college on its own and independent. Can you talk and highlight a little bit more about how you felt during those 6 weeks of like, maybe was it all glitz and glamour for the first couple of days and then you started to realize that you're not feeling fulfilled, or what was that?
You know, I was like, okay, I sleep in day one and I'm like, okay, what should I do today? And I'm like, I don't know. Right? Like, okay, I got to go spend time with my kids. I go play with them. And then it's like, okay, they want to go to a friend's house and I don't have them anymore. And I'm like, huh? Like but yeah, so it was like 2 or 3 days of just like trying to find purpose and then realizing, man, I don't have much purpose. And I remember like going to lunch with a few different people during this time and I just felt down, right? Depressed and like wasn't myself at all. I wasn't the rah, high energy or any of that stuff. And, you know, the funny thing is like, it just reassured me of everything that I've always known, that like money isn't the motivating factor, right? And I've always known that. It's what I preached in our culture and everything else. Like, you know, you work a whole lot more than just money. But it wasn't until like that it really slapped me in the face that it like became so real that like, money doesn't fix this. Money, like being around my team, being around a purpose, being around something that like gives me energy every single day. That's what fixes it. And so, yeah, shortly thereafter, I just started searching, okay, what am I going to do next? Because this whole idea that society has pitched me for my whole life of like retirement, travel, spending all my day, every day with my kids is not the solution at 39 years old. And so immediately launched the podcast and then started like really saying, okay, what can I do that can really leverage the message that I have? You know, and for me, my message is that as entrepreneurs, we can change the world way faster than politicians, way faster than most people in society, because entrepreneurs are tied at the root. Everybody has to have a job, right? Everyone's got to pay bills. Everyone's got to do those things. And so if as entrepreneurs, we can create jobs, but not only create paychecks, we can create a place where employees can come and become better physically, economically, with their associations, how they give back to their communities, everything, and spirituality. Like if we can change that, like we can really change the fabric of society. And I'd always done that at SoulGen. And so for me, I was looking, okay, what can be my next shift where I can parlay that up more than just one business? And so that's where I really fell in love with the idea of working with business owners to help them build their own SoulGens in the same culturistic way. And
you started off by doing obviously the founder podcast, and that was kind of like where your brain went first. Was let's start sharing the story, because it was a unicorn of a story. Like not many people get to experience what we were able to experience at SoulGen, like ever in their life, let alone at a relatively young age, you know?
Right.
And so now you're able to start connecting and networking with other business owners that you have in the past. But I think what's really cool is how much that's levered into being able to collaborate and work and network with people of all different ranges of scope, of business background to just starting to sold their business for $1 billion and whatnot. Do you think that that's what kind of inspired more growth in, hey, we could actually turn this into something and help more and more business owners?
Absolutely. So like the podcast for me was like everything that I enjoy about business: networking, influencing, sharing, teaching, consulting, right? And so, dude, and we've chatted about this so many times, like it has put us one handshake away from pretty much anybody in the world, you know? And like, dude, things are coming out of the woodwork all the time because of it.
It's
crazy.
Weird.
Like literally yesterday, I get a DM from the offensive coordinator of the World Series champions, the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, nuts.
Right? Like this guy's like, hey, I intentionally followed you. I heard one of your podcasts. Your message and my message align. I'm doing this thing with coaches in the major leagues. I want to jump on a phone call with you. And like, that's the kind of stuff that like the podcast has put in front of us. Like, I mean, dude, T-Pain and dude, like what's her name's dad? Can't even think.
Beyonce.
Dude,
Crazy name to forget.
That's how cultured I am, right? I mean, literally Beyonce's dad. We've got like people that have had multiple $1 billion exits on the show, like Naveen Jain, and like, dude, it's wild. It's been crazy.
And so now, like it has been really cool, you know, like over the last year of building the podcast out. Now, you know, thanks to you guys being top at our peak, you know, within top 12 of top business podcasts in the world, which is super special. It's put us in a really cool position to make a huge impact with business owners, which I think, especially which our bread and butter is home service business owners.
Right.
And, you know, a lot of the things that we teach are applicable to all industries, but our passion is the home service industry because there's so much unbelievable opportunity to go from 2 chucks in a truck to, hey, this is a scalable business. I don't have to be in my truck working or on the roof or whatever myself. Like there are better ways to live.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And because of that, so we've designed out this program. And so, you know, this is like the real answer. Like, what are we doing on a daily basis? Yes, we're running the podcast. The podcast is a great, like, forefront, gets us networked and everything. But yeah, as you're saying, like our passion is influencing business owners and more directly those in the home service. But the cool thing is, even if you're not in the home service space, like what we do and teach, you can apply 90% of it.
Absolutely.
And so that's really the beauty. And so what we've done, I actually brought my iPad to the show. And if you're listening to this on Apple, I'd encourage you to watch it on YouTube or even Spotify because we have a little bit more video. But I've got a little, we'll do a little screen recording on my iPad over here. So jump over with me. But we put together this package thing where we teach people from top to bottom, and really no matter where you're at in your business journey, you can get something from what we offer. And so we have this acceleration package, which is essentially a few months ago, I spent, 3-4 weeks taking all my theories, all my strategies, and getting behind a camera and an iPad and recording it. It's the same stuff that we've taken and we've helped consult other businesses, 2 other businesses besides SoulGen to 9-figure exits, and multiple other businesses scale up 50, 100, 300% using the strategies that we teach. And I know you spent a lot of time behind the camera doing the marketing strategies. And so you ran the marketing side of the business that was spending $2.2 million a month in ad spend.
It's so crazy.
And so, Levi shot 40 videos. And so what we did is we packaged this whole thing, and it was such a fun project. And now we're making it available to the world, and once again, whatever you're in, you can take advantage of this. If you're in the home service, you're going to take more advantage of it, but wherever you're at. And so we have this acceleration program, jumping over here to the iPad, that allows people full access to our course. And the crazy thing about this course, it's not being sold to you by someone that has no idea, that just is a professional course builder. We are professional business runners that so happen to build a course and have an exact strategy. And I think that's something that's super unique about what we do. And so the cool thing about the acceleration program, it's cheap. Like literally what you spend on like some sort of like software type thing for your business or whatnot, for $297 a month, you can get full access to our course, right? And with that, you also get recorded calls, which is freaking dope.
Yeah.
So with the Premier group, which I'm going to jump up here, they have live calls. Like you probably, for anybody that follows me on Instagram or whatnot, you probably see me post on my stories, hey, love Monday nights or love this, that, and the other. What that is, those are members of our Premier group that get on and they get live coaching, live Q&A. So for people that need more of that one-on-one or ready to invest a little bit more into their business, the Premier group is like where people are rocking it. And dude, like what are like some of the results that some of our guys have been getting?
We've had, it's been nuts because sometimes I think I often struggle with imposter syndrome, like when we were working at Solgen for years, all you see are the problems. All you see is the mess. You're constantly going to clean up. And then now since we've left Solgen and now doing this and teaching business owners, you start to realize that there's actually a lot of value in everything that we did in Solgen that have helped so many business owners, such as like we've had guys come to one of our workshops and we've explained how this is the exact reason why you should increase your prices.
How to increase it, where to improve your offer.
Right. And instantly doubled his profit. Literally the next day on the plane ride home, he told us a story of how he increased his prices like 30%. And now he's like, there was no problem during the sale. And that's just one example. There's so many other examples of guys adding in financing to their business that they hadn't had before and increasing their sales. Some guys
owning their marketing in-house where they previously outsourced it to agencies and now controlling the cost per lead significantly and all these different things, like improving their culture, improving their management style, creating better visions and plans for their business and strategy and understanding their financials. Like, dude, it's insane, like what we have packed into this thing. And so we get guys on these live calls and they're working through the course and then they get to come and ask us the questions. And so jumping back over here to the iPad, the people that are on the acceleration program, they get to listen to those recorded calls. So it's still like they get to participate in that direction. But those that are in Premier, they are getting live calls. So they get everything acceleration has with the recorded calls, full access to the course. It's a different level of a community, so they can bounce ideas off of other business owners in the community, build camaraderie, all that type of stuff. But the live calls is like where like, hey, Chris, hey, Levi, hey, Daryl, I am struggling with this. I need some advice on this decision, right? 3 times a week we are providing that.
That's over the course of 6 months. I mean, you're getting 72 hours of live consulting. That's something that we've had businesses pay us tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to be part of. So the value that we're giving for that price point is kind of benign.
And the cool thing about Premier, it's actually super cheap.
Yeah.
You pay a $5,000, $5K, so back over here to the iPad up front, and it's $697 a month. Once again, super cheap. You go and hire a minimum wage employee, especially here in the state of Washington, you're $3,000 a month.
Exactly.
Literally for like a fifth of the cost of a minimum wage employee, you can get us in your corner 3 times a week.
It's wild.
Wild.
And it's so fun because you start to see in the community as you get what you put in. So the more calls that you're able to take advantage of and to be a part of, there is a strong correlation with how fast they're able to get results.
Absolutely.
Like there's been a lot of guys that we see in the community that go on every call for a month straight and then, maybe disappear for a couple of weeks, but they come back, they're like, hey guys, I was able to take the first month of calls and I was able to ramp up my business. And now we're, instead of doing, $100,000 a month, we're doing $300,000 a month and increased our EBITDA. So it's just so cool to see.
And the crazy thing, these aren't just random one-off experiences. It's like anyone that has been applying it has been getting these kind of results. Mm-hmm. It's wild. So the difference between, Premier, you get a few other cool things. You get additional tools, so workbooks and things like that are a part of the group. We also give you 25% off live
events.
So So the live events, we just started doing these, which are freaking awesome. These workshops, right? We just did a 5-year workshop. In September, we've got a marketing workshop where you can come directly to the workshop, show up, launch a campaign, have like fully run ads. We'll shoot you a video, everything like that. We'll work you through, teach you exactly how to build out your Facebook ads, your TikTok ads, your organic platform, all the everything. We're going to do that as a workshop. So people part of the Premier, they get 25% off those type of workshops. And of course, you don't have to be a part of the community just to come to one of the workshops. Right. You can come and take advantage of it. But like those things are absolutely insane. And then Elite is where, you like the coaching, you like the phone calls, but you're looking for something a little bit more. And this is where you're getting a lot more of like our physical interaction. And with Elite, we give you everything that's part of everything else. So you get the full course, you get the calls, you get the tools. With this one, you get free live events. Mm-hmm. Which is huge. General mission. So you want to come to the workshop, you come to any workshop you want.
Because we're planning on hosting 12 of these years, 6 different topics and focuses on each workshop. The ability to take advantage of all 6 at no additional cost. Powerful.
Wild.
Yes.
And then you also get 3 masterminds a year. And these masterminds are a couple days where you get to spend one-on-one time with us. We're going to be working on you, because the people that are looking to graduate the next level, they realize it's not just strategy, it's limiting beliefs, it's leadership, it's everything else. And we help you work through the things that took us through that next level ceiling, right? Like that's the reason why we call our business the Next Level Pros, because we want to help people get to the next level. There are levels to this game. No matter where you're at, you're doing $1 billion a year, guess what? There's another level. You're doing $50 billion a year, there's a freaking another level. Right. Like, Elon Musk is out there pacing the levels for everybody. But meanwhile, we graduating, right? We helping people get to the next level. And so that's really the whole cool thing of what we've built out. So once again, if you guys are wondering like what we do, how can you be involved in our community? We have put a link in the show. We're going to give you a $9 week-long trial. If you just want to try it out, see what this course and everything is about, see what these recorded calls are, literally just click on the link below for $9. It's less than can you
a McDonald's meal.
McDonald's meal is like $9-10.
Yeah.
Right? For the same cost as a McDonald's meal, you can get full access for a week. Go in, dive in, and say, does this work for my business? If it does, stay on. It's $297 a month. If you like that, but you're looking for a little bit more and you want those calls, once again, graduate with us up here to back over the iPad up to the Premier. And if that's not enough, if you're looking for even the next level, Elite is for you. We have people in every different section in our community. And guys, let me just tell you, you've heard me talk, if you followed my podcast or listen to my podcast, you heard me talk about personal education. I dropped out of traditional school, right? I got enough learning from that. But since then, I've spent over $1 million on my personal education. This is through masterminds and courses and events and coaches and everything else. I do not regret one of those dollars, right? Those have yielded so much return. $1 million has yielded me hundreds of millions of dollars. And I would not do it. In fact, the only thing I do regret is not spending more. It's wild. And so we're giving you guys an opportunity to come and to work with us on a daily, a weekly, a monthly basis. There's so many opportunities that we're going to have workshops and masterminds. Once again, if you're not a part of these, the Acceleration Premier or Elite, you could still do those things, but you would also be just missing out on that daily check-in, the interaction. coaches and consultants work. It's the reason why Michael Jordan had Phil Jackson.
Right.
It's the reason why he had Tim Grover.
Yeah.
Right. Like literally had his basketball coach and then his mindset and training coach. Right. Like all like the best people in the world. Tony Robbins pays a speaking coach. This is one of the best speakers in the world. Spends $250,000 a year on his speaking coach. It's just wild.
It is wild. And even more powerful at minimum outside, because obviously the course is fantastic. It teaches you a lot of principles and the hows and the what's and the whys and the birds and the bees. But the community piece, like it's so cool to watch these communities grow and foster relationships shoulder to shoulder with a lot of these other home service pros. We're finding guys that end up being in near the same territories, and now they can share customer bases and refer each other to other awesome. Your business and stuff. And so there's a lot of opportunities. At the end of the day, if you're in the home service business, you're sharing most of the same customer base.
Right. Homeowner, good credit, disposable income. Right. They need different products and services.
But again, like, especially at the acceleration in the premier level, it's not just for home service businesses. We have guys who own taco catering companies in our business. We've got a real estate person. So there's all kinds of businesses that can get value out of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Tons of value you can get from all those things. But as you said, like this is what is giving me passion. Like when people ask, like, what are you doing now, post exit, post taking millions of dollars off the table, like this, the influence and impact and teaching of others, like I don't need the money. In fact, the only reason we charge anything is because people value what they pay for, right? Literally, when you put money out, you're saying, I value it at least this much, right? And so if we were just giving this away for free, people wouldn't use it, right? And so it's really just a barrier of entry to say, like, are you willing to invest in yourself? Are you willing to upgrade your income, upgrade your experience, upgrade your network? And I'll tell you, the best thing that you can do is be in the right room. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Founder Podcast. Until next time.